Doesn't it feel good when you get a comment on a post from a person calling you out for something that you're doing wrong? I know it doesn't feel good, but if you give the sting some time to pass and you go back and read it, you may find a golden nugget that you can use to improve. That's what happened to me today on Instagram. I posted a post that was real about my feelings with anxiety in 2020 and what's going on. And I got this comment from Deb. It's great to read a real story from you. I'm so used to your tips that I tend to scroll past you now. Sorry, just being honest. But today I was like, wait, she's writing a post. Let's see what she has to say. At first, Deb's comment was a sting. And then I realized she is right. I've been a little too tipsy lately. And it's something I teach my clients. Don't always be the information person. You want to be a real person too. So, Deb, your comment on my post inspired this episode. I was going to talk about the 5 simple ways to plan your next video so that you can get what you want out of them. And that episode is coming. But instead, today, I'm going to share with you how Oprah Winfrey, Nick Saban, and Gary Vaynerchuk changed my life and how what I learned from them can change yours too. Let's rewind and go back to 1996. I was about to graduate from the University of Alabama, and I decided on Christmas break to read Oprah Winfrey's autobiography. I had watched Oprah Winfrey since I was in 8th grade. I was a latchkey kid. I was there when Oprah got her first Oprah show and it went national. I watched every single episode. I was a super fan, but I'd never read her book. Knew a little bit about her story, but I'd never read her book. And I had wanted to be in broadcast journalism since I was 11 years old. 11 years old. And I chickened out in college and decided to major in psychology instead because I was not confident enough that I could pull it off and be able to build a career in television journalism. And then I read Oprah's book on Christmas break. And I thought to myself, if you don't go for this, you will always wonder what if. If Oprah Winfrey can do what she did, you certainly can go and apply for your first job in television and see what happens. Immediately, I am not exaggerating. I closed my paperback book. I closed my paperback book and I reached for the phone. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was sitting Indian style in my room in my house in Birmingham, Alabama. And I picked up the maroon phone on the floor and I called up the school because that's how you changed your classes back then. And I changed every one of my classes. I would have graduated that semester. And instead, I stayed 2 more years so I could get a degree in broadcast journalism because of Oprah. What did I learn from Oprah? I learned that your story can change lives. Dang it, I thought I wasn't going to cry. And little did I know that later in my life, I would see that magnified over and over again. I would see how other people's stories, total strangers, would move something in me so much that I would pick up the phone and I would ask for help. I did it when I had a binge eating disorder. I did it when alcohol took over my life. It was people's stories that pulled me out of the darkness. It's why I teach video. I love video, don't get me wrong. I like the mechanics of it. I nerd out about all of it. But video is just the vehicle to what can change lives. Your story matters. Oprah Winfrey wrote that book, and she will never know how many people she has changed and helped just by writing that book. Forget her talk shows and her movie. I'm just talking about the book right now. You have no idea how many people you will impact if you go out there and share your story. Share it the right way, but share your story. And when you use video to do it, you're able to reach people on a whole new level. The reason that she moved me so much with that book is because I felt like I knew Oprah because I watched her every day after school. Video did that. Video was her vehicle. That's what I learned from Oprah Winfrey. So I went into broadcast journalism, and here I am. The second person who has changed my life, and you will never know, is Nick Saban. Who is Nick Saban? Nick Saban is the Alabama football coach. And to many, he is the greatest football coach in college football history. Now, I was living here in Illinois when he took over. No, I was living in St. Louis, but it doesn't matter. I was living in this market when he took over the team. I didn't pay that much attention to him at first because he had some work to do before he was going to turn that team around. But once he did, once he got the players that he recruited, he took off and just kept winning games and winning games and winning games. And while I'm not into all the technicalities of football, I really paid attention to his words. Don't get me wrong. He is one of the greatest football, if not the greatest football coaches in college history. He's also probably one of the most disliked because of his demeanor. He has RBF like nobody else, and he's really blunt and he's really straightforward, but he's really smart and he's an incredible mentor to those players. What I learned from Nick Saban was that you focus on the process and not the results. What I mean by that is he coaches his players to focus on the plays. Just focus on the plays. Don't focus on the scoreboard. The score will go up there if you focus and master your play, your process. When I fell into this, I had just started my first business. It was in network marketing. And network marketing is hard. Any business is hard. But network marketing, especially for someone who's never done business in their life, and now you're putting yourself out there in ways that you never thought you were going to, you have to figure out how to master the process of any business. I still use this philosophy today. It's how I've been able to grow my business because I show up every day and I focus on the mechanics and the process and the who I'm helping and not the results. Now, I will get sidetracked just like any other human out there and start to look at the vanity metrics. But when I do that, I have to remind myself it's not about the numbers. It's about the process and the people that you're helping. It's when I say take the focus off of you when you're on video and focus on the person at home, the one person at home you're helping. And if you help one person today with that video, you've done your job. That is focusing on the process. You focus on helping one person every day, showing up every day in some way to help people, and the results will come. I learned that from Nick Saban. And because of that, I became one of the top leaders in that company, and I was able to replace my income, walk away from that, start a TV show, start this business, because you focus on the process and not the results. If you focus on the scoreboard, you're going to get so sabotaged and overcome by the results that you're not seeing that you will paralyze yourself. So you focus on, what can I do in this moment? How can I help the person in front of me right now? Not how can I explode in a matter of days? This is a marathon, which brings me to my third person who changed my life, Gary Vaynerchuk, or Gary V. Gary V came out in the mid 2000s, but for whatever reason, I didn't hear about him until probably I'm going to say 16, maybe later than that. Could have been 2018. But what I learned from Gary V is that you, just like I just talked about, you focus on giving people value. You focus on helping people. You don't focus on you. If you focus on you, you'll turn people off. If you focus on being a good human being, you will grow your business. You will. I don't have to pitch my products and my services because I focus on that. I focus on helping people, which builds trust, which allows people to want to listen to what I have to offer when I do offer that. I learned that from Gary Vaynerchuk. I also learned that you just go. You don't wait to figure it all out. You just go. He was also the one in my ear telling me, jump on TikTok right now or you will regret it. Now, he also said that about Instagram, and I didn't do it. And I regretted it because I waited so long. But with that said, I also don't live looking at my regrets. I see everything as preparing you for your next chapter. Let me tell you this story. I have a course called This is Video School. And the first time I ran it, it was a private group of people in a Facebook group. There were no digital courses, no modules, nothing like that. I showed up every week and I did my training with my slides and I did Q&A and I provided worksheets, and it was a 6-week course. And that was the first time I ran it. The second time I was going to run it, I did a free challenge for 3 days, and it was inside a Facebook group. And on the third day during the training at the end, I was going to promote my course again and go into a launch. Well, that day was the day everything shut down because of COVID. So I get off this call and I flip on the news and I realize that our entire country is shutting down. People are unsettled and nervous, and I'm asking people to buy a course. That is not going to work. So I took my foot off the gas on that one and I paused. And I just kept going back to what Gary Vee said, and that is showing up every day and giving value. Show up every day, give value. Figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to pivot, what's that going to look like. We're not really sure right now, but just show up every day. And then he kept talking about TikTok. One day I jumped on TikTok because Gary Vee said I would regret it if I didn't do it. And I felt awkward and my video was ridiculous, but I liked it. I think I shot 3 TikToks that day. 3 more the next day, not because I was trying to get anything out of it, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just having fun being goofy in my laundry office. And then it started to happen. The momentum started to pick up and I started gaining followers like nobody's business, because the organic reach on TikTok is like no other platform out there still to this day. And I started having a lot of fun. And then I started nerding out about the analytics and the algorithm. And now I wasn't confident though. Let me just tell you right now, I was not using my actual voice. I was doing the lip dubs. And sometimes I did a dance or two, but I got rid of that real fast because that is not my thing. And I won't go into the entire TikTok story. I'll save that for another day. But long story short, I grew 280,000 followers on that account. And I learned that if I did it the right way, I could make money from it. So I did what Gary Vee said, and I just jumped in, not knowing how I was going to do it. And I started another TikTok account. But this time, I started to give the value that Gary Vee had talked about. I showed up with video tips, similar to what I was doing on Instagram, but I was on TikTok and I wanted that weird part of me to come out, but that was on the other account. And I wasn't sure people would take me seriously if I acted too weird on this account. So I kept going forward. And I know I've shared this story before, but it is worth repeating. Then I started to go into other people's accounts to see what they were doing in the tutorial world on TikTok. And that was a mistake. However, I don't regret it because it got me where I am today. The mistake I made was I started to borrow ideas from people, but then the borrowing turned into copying. And I copied someone's video that happened to be a viral video. I say happened because I am now starting to remember the night that I discovered this video. And I wrote all these notes down in a notebook, and then I didn't create the video for like a couple weeks. So I wasn't really clear with how big and successful that video was. I just had the notes from it. And when I created the video, it looked like a carbon copy of what she did. And I didn't even realize it was that close, but I must have taken some really good notes. And I started to get called out on it. And then the actual creator saw the video and she did a TikTok about me copying her. And it was humiliating to say the least. And I almost got off TikTok because I was caught as a fraud. This is how big I blew it up in my mind. I mean, we are talking about a TikTok, but still. And I remembered what I learned from my first TikTok account, and that was everything that happens to you is preparing you for the next chapter. Take this lesson and run with it. Don't run away from it. Run with it, not away. And I decided I would take those videos down. Well, it was the one, but there's a couple of other ones that were way similar to some other creators that I was not happy with. Took those down too. And then I told myself I was not allowed to look at people in other or people in my industry on TikTok or Instagram. We're done. We're muting them or we're going to unfollow them. We're going to be very intentional about going all in on our expertise, our stories. Hello, Oprah Winfrey. Focusing on the process every day, showing up and giving and not looking at results. And I did this every single day. And then Deb comes into my comments today and reminds me that I'm not being the storyteller. I'm being the tip teller. And the problem with that is when you just give the nuts and bolts and you don't give the heart and soul, people see you as a machine, a robot. They get tired of it because there's no human connection. And that's what was happening with me and Deb. There was no connection there because all she was getting was tips. Now, is Deb my ideal follower? I'm not sure. But she did remind me of something that is really important no matter what you do, and that is to be a human being. Yes, you can give tips, you can give value all day, but if you're not showing up and reminding people that you don't have it all together, that you feel pain too, then they're not going to relate to you and they're going to move on. So, Deb, thank you for the reminder. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about Oprah Winfrey, Nick Saban, and Gary Vaynerchuk in one video or podcast, because I guarantee you that's never been done before. But this girl from Birmingham, Alabama, who went into broadcast journalism, who became an entrepreneur, I appreciate those three mega famous. And I do believe Enneagram 3s. I'm going to just guess at that. But maybe that's because I'm an Enneagram 3 and I think they're an Enneagram 3 because that would make me feel like we're somehow alike. I don't know. Maybe one day they'll reveal what their Enneagram type is. By the way, this is Virginia Kerr reporting from my laundry office in small town Illinois, and this is where you come to get video and marketing hacks for your online business.